This week on Inside the Headset, we are featuring the 2021 AFCA Division II Regional Coaches of the Year. These coaches include Kutztown University coach Jim Clements, Bowie State University coach Damon Wilson, University of Findlay coach Rob Keys, Angelo State University coach Jeff Girsch, and Western Colorado University coach Jas Bains. In this episode, these coaches discuss playing football again after the canceled 2020 season, detail how to spin adversity into positivity, and highlight their past convention experiences throughout the years. But before that, a reminder that you can catch the 2022 AFCA convention sessions virtually on February 22nd and 23rd on the AFCA website. So if you'd like to re-watch one of the sessions or listen to one of them for the first time, make sure you are an AFCA member so you can gain access to all the premier content at afca.com. Now, let's get inside the headset.
Hello, Daniel DePrado here with the American Football Coaches Association. I want to say congratulations to our Division II Regional Coaches of the Year, and congratulations on an incredible season, gentlemen, and thank you for being here with us today. Throughout the season, all of you in your own individual ways had incredible success, incredible years. Throughout that season, there's always things that come up. There's adversities, there's challenges, there's injuries, weather, travel, all kinds of things that can come up throughout the year. Really would like to start with Coach Clements here and kind of give us something that just you really remember that stuck out to you and your program and their success, maybe something that occurred throughout that year that really sticks out and resonates with you on your team's success this year.
Well, I think I can talk for all the coaches up here in regards to Division II. Not being able to have a season in 2020 was really challenging for our guys, and just going from that spring, almost a year and a half of not being able to play, the excitement of the camp was awesome this year. It was great. Kids were excited, and we actually came out pretty healthy in the spring. And when we got to camp, we lost 3 offensive linemen to ACLs, defensive tackle to an ACL. So it was it was the first time it ever happened to me. I've been coaching 25 plus years. First time we had 4 guys go down with those types of injuries, and the next guy stepped up and played well. And I think we were it was a special run, special group. It didn't end the way we wanted to. We lost on a Hail Mary with 7 seconds to go.
Yes, sir.
But it gives us something to work on going into next year. I just think the overall enjoyment of our players being able to play the game that they love was the thing I take away the most from this season, because it was taken away from us. Yeah. And we talk about it all the time as coaches. This thing could be taken away from you at any moment. And this obviously was a huge blow to the kids, and just the struggles and the things they did to come back to play, to be with their brothers and have the opportunity to play. I thought that was the biggest takeaway for us, just excited to get back out there and play.
I appreciate it, Coach.
Yep.
Coach Wilson.
And I can almost echo everything Coach just mentioned. And for us, my biggest thanks to our coaching staff during the pandemic was, hey, whatever staff comes back the most organized, that's the staff will have a chance to have an opportunity to have success. And I thought we were organized, and all of a sudden, our field, we were getting a new field installed. And it got pushed back. And then it got pushed back again. So we had training camp off campus, which was a challenge for us, but I had no idea it was going to bring the guys closer together. We're jumping on the bus every day, and they're getting to know one another, because the time we missed away from being apart. Being separated. And so I think that experience, just being off campus, taking that little 10, 15-minute bus ride to a practice facility every day, it gave the older guys some time to talk to the younger guys, and it made them communicate. And I think that really helped us, because the second game of the season against Saginaw Valley State, we lost 3 O-line. My three juniors and seniors for the year. And so we had to play some freshmen. Yeah. And for those guys to rally together and have the type of year we had, was very impressive. We went on a 12-game winning streak, ended up losing to Valdosta State in the quarterfinals. But I'm very excited about what we're doing. I think the guys, like I said, did a great job of just rallying around one another. So, we're here today because of the work those guys put in during that, that time we were away from one another.
Absolutely. Thanks, Coach. Coach Keys.
Yeah, I hate to say it. It's the same thing, echo. For us, it was a little different because we played a spring season. So we played 6 games in the spring, and that was interesting because people were talking about, well, are you going to treat it like a preseason games and get guys developmental work, and do you care about winning? I was like, well, if there's a scoreboard and there are officials, yes, we care about winning. So we played the spring season, so it was taken away from us, but we still had the opportunity to grow as a team. But you mentioned some of the turning points, and it's funny. I've been in the program now for 11 seasons, and I kind of go back to 19, because in 2019, we competed against the national champs this year in Ferris State. We ended up losing to them by a point on a 2-point conversion. And I really felt our guys believed in the program. Hey, we could beat anybody in the nation. And I think the biggest turning point for us this year is we opened up with Ferris again. And 7-0 Findlay, and we're feeling like, hey, we got a shot to roll with them again. And 54-14 was the final. And I watched those guys come off the field, and it was tough. They were dejected. They felt that maybe they're not as good as as they thought they were. And that was a real kind of a time for them to reflect and look back and say, hey, we need to be better. We can't just show up on the field because what we did in 2019. So the 21 season, there was a very pivotal moment in 19 that affected the 21 season, and that loss against Ferris was tough. But I love the way they rallied. We learned the most from our failures, and the adversity against that game, I think, really amped our guys up to say, hey, we need to be better next week. And we went on a really good run, and we beat some really good teams down the stretch. And, unfortunately, again, lost in the first round of the playoffs to Shepherd by 7 points. But, a lot of good happened, but it came out of that first game adversity.
Yeah. Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
Coach Girsch.
I'll kind of piggyback on that. It goes back to 2019 with us as well at Angelo State. I took over the head coaching job at the end of 2018 season. In 2019, we played, and we had a really breakout year. We won 8-3. A lot of excitement in the program, and then COVID hits, and we did play in the fall in 2020. We had 4 games. We split with West Texas A&M, but then we played 2 Division I games. So we played Abilene Christian, and then we played Stephen F. Austin. And we split in those games, beating in Division I. There was a lot of excitement in the program, so you saw that in the development of kids, through the spring, to get ready to get to play this season. And we had unbelievable leadership amongst our our senior class, and they just did a great job, with it. Going into this season, we had some injuries as well. We lost our quarterback week 3, and he missed a couple games, and we still went in and played with a backup, and the backup was a backup's backup, at the time, who did an unbelievable job, won 2 football games for us and got us through that spot. But just the adversity that you face through dealing with COVID, and everybody's had to do that. But then having the leadership and the kids that bought in, even though they weren't playing any games, they waited a year and a half to get back on that football field, basically. That was the biggest thing for us. This year we went 11-3, and we were an unranked football team most of the year, and that didn't bother me because I knew we were a good football team. We lost in the regional championship against Colorado School of Mines. It's a very good football team. And but I'm just so proud of our kids. We had injuries. We've had, everybody dealt with COVID, but these kids didn't waver. And that part of it was probably the most impressive thing. And they got to buy in to a new coaching staff and all that type of thing. I was new, or I was around, but I had new guys coming in, and our kids just took off with it and ran with it and believed in it. So to me, that was the biggest thing about this year that made us successful. The leadership we had amongst our seniors and upperclassmen, and then the staff, keeping them on track and doing what we had to do, and they responded.
Appreciate you sharing, Coach. Coach Bains.
Yeah, I think just like the rest of the coaches, and a lot of challenges, obviously coming through the pandemic and those things. And I thought it, brought our team a little closer together, quite frankly. We tried to, follow guidelines and those things. So our guys were around each other a lot, and it just kind of stayed that way. I thought it was, a heck of a group that we had. We had a bunch of guys that, ultimately played for each other. And that's kind of what it was for us. We got good players in those things, and it's been 30 years at Western since, we've won 10 football games and, had a chance to be co-conference champions with Colorado School of Mines, and that was our one loss during the regular season. I thought that was kind of a pivotal point for us as well. Just going in every week trying to focus on the one opponent. I think our guys did a good job with that. And then the loss, I think our guys, they wanted to try to make a run at it at the end, and just, maybe hope that we still had a chance to win the conference and do those things, and so we ended up being co-conference champions, and that hadn't been done since 1998 at Western Colorado, and made the playoffs. Hadn't done that in 25 years, and we ended up hosting a playoff game, which hadn't been done since 1991 at Western. So for our community and our university and our program and our alumni, our players and staff did a fantastic job, and it was a lot of fun to do. So.
Well, gentlemen, congrats once again on the successful seasons, and I appreciate you guys sharing. I want to switch gears a little bit here. We're in the centennial year of the American Football Coaches Association, and we're here at the 2022 AFCA convention, and I want to kind of ask you about maybe an experience that you've had throughout the convention as you walk up the halls, and you guys are being honored as Regional Coaches of the Year, and a lot of young coaches out there aspire to be you. They aspire not only to be head football coaches, to be coaches of the year, to be recognized like you guys are being recognized, but they aspire to move up. Could you possibly give us an experience that you had maybe in your earlier years in the convention as a young coach, or even recent, maybe that got you to the point you are today, while being at the convention, that we could help those younger coaches out with a little bit? Jim, I'll start with you.
Well, I was a young coach, obviously, coming to the convention, eyes wide open, and hey, there's Coach Bowden, there's Coach Paterno. I was the guy chasing Coach Bowden in the elevator and just going up and down on the elevator with him, just trying to say hello, how you doing? So that was exciting for me as a young coach. And I remember listening to Joe Paterno in a general session, and he was talking, he was getting fired up at the podium, and he slammed his fist down on the podium, and his watch exploded and came off, and I was like, all right, this guy, I was ready to put on a helmet and play. So I was excited. I like listening to the head coaches and listening to their stories. The X's and O's is great, but I like talking and building relationships when I come here. Last night I had an opportunity to talk with my former head coaches in the NCAA Hall of Fame. He's a former AFCA president, and Bill Manlove. And I talked with Coach Dapp, who's another former AFCA president, both Division III guys. And I came up through Division III, and just talking to those guys about their experiences and how it was when they were younger. It was pretty special. So I can leave it at that. It was just it's a great place. Young guys, if you weren't able to make it, you want to make sure you get down here next year if you can.
Jim, thanks. Damon?
Well, I started coaching right after I finished playing. I got the opportunity. Henry Frazier hired me as a assistant coach, special teams coordinator 20 plus years ago. And I remember at a convention, we were having lunch. Man, Eddie Robinson, Joe Taylor, Steve Wilson, we were all at one table, Pete Richardson, all at one table having lunch. And here I am, a 21, 22-year-old, wet behind the ears, just trying to kind of get involved in this coaching thing. What is this coaching deal all about? And just to hear some of the stories and to be sitting here now 20 plus years, and it's an amazing feeling. But it all started for me at the AFCA convention, and just having guys around me that that experienced this a success already, and listening. So young guys, man, I encourage you guys to definitely attend the AFCA convention, network as much as possible, and remember, the first impression is the lasting impression. So do things the right way, and opportunities may open up the door for you, or opportunities may rise for you.
Thanks, Coach. Yeah. Rob.
Reflecting back, I was very fortunate. I had the opportunity to play at West Virginia for Don Nealon. I was a graduate assistant for Coach for 3 years at WVU, and he was the AFCA president during my time as a GA. And it was funny, we were walking around, and he was like, Robbie, come on, you're going to go with me, and we're going to introduce you to some of my friends. And I'm thinking, oh, here we go. Tom Osborne, Bobby Bowden, and it was like, some of your friends, huh? And Steve Spurrier, and I'm like, whoa. So it was kind of surreal to me, but there was one that if I think of convention, I think of one person, that's Eddie Robinson. In 1998, I listened to him talk, and I'm coaching receivers at that time as a GA, and I was just waiting to meet him. Like, all I wanted to do was meet him, and sitting there, and everybody talked to him, and I waited and waited and waited, and it was me and one of the other GAs from West Virginia. It was just the three of us in this giant, auditorium, and Eddie Robinson, Rob Keys, sitting beside one another, and he genuinely asked, what position you coach? I said, I'm working with the wideouts. He said, you make sure you teach them to block. And I was like, and he truly interacted and genuinely cared about like somebody he just met. And I have one picture behind my desk. It's me and Eddie, and he signed my AFCA lanyard. I don't have a badge on, but he signed my badge. Wow. And every time I think of AFCA, I think Eddie Robinson.
Awesome.
Such a great guy.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Coach. Yeah. Jeff?
Well, I did have so many memories of it. I've been coming to the AFCA convention since I started coaching. I started graduate assistant at St. Ambrose University, a small private school in Iowa. With all those coaches, I worked with some great coaches there, and they kind of took me under their wing, got me down here to introduce myself to the different coaches, the atmosphere, what to expect, and just so fortunate. But a couple things that stick out to me, listening to Mac Brown talk one year after when they won it that year, and listen to him kind of talk. He was right after they got done. It was one of those Legends sessions, and I sat and listened to him, and just the experiences that man had and that coach had over his years and what he was willing to share with everybody was so impressive. And then the other one I'll tell you is Chris Peterson. I listened to him talk one time, and his whole talk was about, as a head coach, hiring, what you look for in hiring and how you present yourself and when you have issues on staff, if you have them, how you handle things. And that is something that, first off, I wasn't a coordinator, I wasn't a head coach, I was still trying to look for jobs. So that was huge for me to see what they were looking for out of it to get hired. Mm-hmm. And I still use it to this day. I still have the notebook, handwritten notes of things I have when I'm doing my hiring now. So, I think you can learn so much as a young coach to come down here, go out and experience it, go to the breakout sessions, go to lunch and sit down with somebody that you don't know and have those experiences and take the guidance from some older coaches that'll put you in the right direction. But the AFCA convention has been very good to me, and it's something that I enjoy and look forward to each and every year.
Thanks, Coach. Jas?
Yeah, I can't pinpoint one specific scenario or, coming down to the AFCA convention. I think, it's something that I think every coach looks forward to every year. You get a chance to listen to some very successful coaches, get a chance to, meet a lot of coaches and at all different levels. So for me, it's always been just getting a chance to visit, like these guys are saying, where you don't know what coaches, wear and get a chance to connect with somebody, learn football, spend more time, getting to know, some other programs, some other coaches. And so for me, that's been the most unique part every year. I got a chance to meet some of these guys that I haven't had a chance to ever meet. And hopefully we continue, to build on those things moving forward. But, the AFCA convention, I've been coming to it now for, I think, 16, 17 years when I was a young graduate assistant, and you got to make the most of the opportunity when you come down here, and there's a lot of things going on, and you get a chance to listen and, learn X's and O's and get to hear from, some experienced coaches and kind of their philosophy or their path. And that's probably been the greatest thing to be able to do that every year, because we're all trying to improve and get better every year as coaches, and it's always great to hear a lot of stories from these coaches and get a chance to visit with them.
And guys, as you guys are speaking, I appreciate you sharing. As they're sharing their stories, you can feel the passion and you can feel the energy of the experiences that they've had here at the convention. Gentlemen, I just want to wrap up by saying congratulations once again on an incredible season, incredible career moving forward. I want to wish you all the best of luck. Appreciate what you guys do on a daily basis for our young men out there and what you do for our coaching profession in association with the AFCA. Thank you guys very much. Good luck next season.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Inside the Headset. If you heard anything on this episode that you would like to learn more information about, head over to afcapodcast.com, where you can find every episode and all of the corresponding show notes. While you're there, take a second to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for the show, please let us know by sending an email to podcast@afca.com. Make sure to follow the podcast on Twitter @InsideTheHeadset and tag it when you share each episode. You can stay up to date with all things AFCA by following the @WeAreAFCA Twitter account. Every episode of Inside the Headset can also be found on your favorite audio streaming platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. If you are not currently a member of the AFCA,
Be sure to find us online at afca.com and apply to join over 10,000 NFL, college, and high school coaches from around the country who are striving to be the best they can be. With an AFCA membership, you gain invaluable access to the annual AFCA convention, the bi-monthly magazine, and the new and improved digital library, which contains thousands of videos and articles contributed by hundreds of current and former football coaches. You can also visit afcainsider.com to sign up for our free weekly email newsletter on the right-hand side of the screen. It comes out every Tuesday at lunch and is filled with great articles and stories written by many of the same coaches you hear on the podcast. It's geared to help you become a better coach tomorrow than you are today. Be sure to connect with me on Twitter at Coach Mario Price, and remember, the AFCA is not just an annual convention. It is an association that continually promotes education, guidance, and networking. But it is also so much more than that. The AFCA is about celebrating the past and educating the future. It is about developing great coaches who will produce great teams and even better people. So invest in your skill set and impact today by engaging with the AFCA.